The title suggests a disturbing situation set in a historical context where slavery and extreme power imbalances existed. It hints at a plantation owner treating both his daughter and his enslaved worker as possessions rather than human beings, which already reveals a world built on cruelty and dehumanization. It implies that the plantation owner forced his daughter into a situation she did not choose. The wording also frames the enslaved man as having no power to refuse, meaning both people in the situation are victims of the owner's authority, though in very different ways. The description of the daughter focuses on her physical appearance in a way that shows how the people around her judged or objectified her rather than considering her personality or humanity. This emphasizes how she, too, was seen largely as a body rather than a person with agency. The enslaved man is placed in a horrific position where he is expected to follow the owner's orders. His life, safety, and survival depend on obedience, which highlights the brutality of slavery and how it stripped people of both freedom and dignity. The title suggests something traumatic happened as a result of the owner's actions. Instead of focusing on explicit events, the deeper interpretation is that the consequences were severe enough to leave lasting emotional, physical, or social damage. The phrase, "what he did," may be more about the impact of the situation than a literal act. It can refer to how both characters were affected, changed, or harmed by being forced into a terrible dynamic they never wanted. The daughter's suffering likely reflects the consequences of being controlled her whole life, growing up in a household where her father's will overpowered her own. Her body being mentioned in the title signals that her identity may have been reduced to appearance and possession. For the enslaved man, the title hints at the psychological weight of being forced into something deeply traumatic. His humanity, choices, and personal boundaries were already taken from him by the system of slavery, and this demand pushed that violation even further. The plantation owner's action symbolizes the extreme abuse of authority common in slaveholding societies. The title reflects how such cruelty harmed everyone trapped within those systems, though enslaved people suffered the most severe and systemic violence. The "body left them" part may be interpreted metaphorically. It could imply that the daughter's sense of self, confidence, or emotional wholeness was damaged to the point that she no longer felt connected to who she once was. It could also suggest that the enslaved man, forced into the situation, experienced a feeling of emotional detachment or numbness as a survival response to trauma. In some interpretations, the phrase may point to how both characters became symbols of the corruption and moral decay within that society. Their bodies and lives reflected the deep scars of oppressive power structures. The title may also be exploring how communities reacted afterward, perhaps turning away from the daughter or the enslaved man, showing how societies rooted in cruelty often blame victims instead of confronting injustice. This kind of narrative often critiques the systems that allow such abuses to occur, highlighting how individuals lose their autonomy and humanity within oppressive hierarchies. Ultimately, the title suggests a tragedy shaped not by the actions of the enslaved man or the daughter themselves but by the cruelty and dominance of the plantation owner, who used his control to damage the lives of those around him, leaving behind lasting consequences none of them could fully escape.